Welcome to the Dog Psychology Podcast with Todd and Art.
All right, welcome to the Dog Psychology Podcast with Todd and Art. Yeah, we had a lot of stuff going on over here. I've been really busy working with some dogs. I started doing these J trains with some dogs, and I've just been bringing in like Tuesdays and Thursdays, bringing in some dogs. I just got kind of work with them throughout the whole day.
It's like a little mini rehab. You like do like a whole little structure movement of around type of thing.
Yeah. So I got this one dog, it's this pitty that I met and it was one of those dogs like really excited which, you know, we're going to watch a video. It was a dog. Of course, I didn't see what happened before, but you know, this dog is just like really, really excited and doesn't have an off switch. It's just one of those, it's like not almost like a drivey dog, but like also doesn't have an off switch, but also you can see that it's there.
Yeah.
And so I had done a session with them, an in-home session with them, and they have cats, and I slowed the dog down, but it just wasn't like where I was really comfortable with. And then they ended up doing my workshop that I have, my 3-hour workshop, where we just kind of like walk and, you know, do a lot of leash work and stuff. And this dog was the one dog that just did not bring it down. I was like,
Didn't give it up, huh?
No.
The whole time.
And I was like, I'm going to offer you something. I want you to bring the dog to me. I want to work with it all day long. And so that's what I did with this dog. And it was really,
it's funny when you say that, because I've done that too, where you're looking at this dog and you're like, God, I need some time with this thing. I got to find the end. I gotta be able to, you know what I mean? I got to be able to find the way to get through to this dog. How'd it go?
I went amazing. So it's, you know, it's funny is like, even before that, let me back up. So the last time I was at their house, they were like, anytime the dog, they bring the leash out, it would get super jumpy, but also really mouthy. Mm-hmm. And then it would start running around, and it was like, pa, 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 like this kind of biting everything, you know?
Yep.
And I was like, hey, I noticed every time I walk in the house, I'm like observing or everything.
You know, by the way, that is actually why I ended up with Mr. Pickles. So he did that. He had that, and he would take it to you. And it wasn't his mouth, it was his body. So he would throw his whole body on, like he would jump on your head like a hat for doing that. And I know exactly what you're talking about. It's almost like a real nasty zoomies.
Yeah. And so anyways, I kind of looked and I noticed I had like one of those Amazon cheap e-collars, you know, that's sitting on the table. And I was like, do you guys use that? Like, no, we use it for like the sound and the vibrator. I'm like, how's it working? Like, you know, it sometimes works. I was like, let me see that thing. And I'd never used one of these, like the Amazon ones. I was like, let me just see. So I started like going through, the dial and started like testing it out and things like that. And I was like, because I got to do something quick. Because the other thing that was doing is like, it's a couple and anytime they're like on the couch, she'll jump on the couch and like start just mouthing them, you know? I was like, let's just create a boundary on the couch. And so I started testing e-collar and I was like, all right, well, I'm kind of familiar with it, but it's not the one I would use, but we can use it for right now. And so I ended up putting the e-collar and I'm kind of just going through and the dog being like super worked up.
Now, did you do any introduction with the collar?
No, not in this situation.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. It's because in these situations, I just want to get rid of the thing that is causing.
Yeah, but did you set up any correction then? Did you set up an introduction aside from the correction?
No. I know what you're talking about, like setting up. No, I didn't do that. Only because it was like I was addressing it in that moment of when it gets super worked up, right? So what I did is I had them put the dog on leash and just kind of hang on to it. And then I just started to, you know, figure out what, you know, I was going where I could feel it. And then I was like, there's no way this dog doesn't feel it because I felt it at this number. I'm like, there's just no way. And I was really hesitant to like dial it up and keep going, you know, I was super.
Can you explain why you're hesitant?
Well, because I don't know, like for me, because it's a collar, these Amazon collars are not that great. And so then they go from 1 to 2 or 3 to 4, like when you go one notch up, there's a huge rise. Whereas some of the e-collars that we like, you can fine tune everything. Now, what was your question? I'm sorry.
Well, I was, you know, sometimes at the very beginning like that, I wouldn't want to take it up for 2 reasons. One is if I don't take it up enough, it's, you know, it's possible a dog like that can turn back towards where he thinks that pressure
is from. I didn't think this dog would do that, but
two is I don't want to blow my wad and go up to a number that's high and he take it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do some other groundwork or base work to get it to go. And now I'm stuck here in this like, oh shit, now I can take this stuff. You know what I mean?
I was trying to, and this is how I do it, is like I go to one number, like see if there's a reaction, go to the next number, see the reaction. Because like sometimes I always tell people it's not to get, or Lynn will say, you want to get their attention, don't make it hurt, just get their attention. And so, you're just looking for a reaction, like, what was that? And they kind of look around. That's kind of, I was like, okay, that's a baseline. That's where I know, and that sometimes I'll turn it down. But in this situation, I was just kind of like, the moment that the dog did this, like, oh, I got it, right? So then, I said, go, tell me the scenario. Like, how does it happen? Like, normally I'm working on the couch, and then Gail will walk in, and then with the dog, and as soon as that, she just goes crazy. I was like, all right, let's set it up. Go get your laptop out, set it up. We did the exact same thing. And as soon as she like was gonna jump out, I just tap, and she looked around. She's like, what the hell was that? And then she kind of looked around. I was like, don't. As long as she's not like retreating, just kind of like ignore it for right now, right? And then she got like happy-go-lucky again, right? And then she tried to put her paw. And I got her. She looked around. She moved her paw, and then she started to like go away. I was like, no, bring her back here. Let her come back here so she can understand that she can hang out with you. And then she just laid at their feet. And this is a dog that was like going nuts, and they were like looking like, I can't believe this. I was like, look, we just had to intervene in some way, and just. Get their attention, so that is what we create. That's what you want on a daily basis. And then I was like, all right, so now let's grab the leash out, right? Grab the leash out. I already had a good baseline. I actually turned it down a little bit. And then as soon as she started like going crazy, as soon as she jumped up like to them, like to bite the owner with the leash, I tapped, and then she looked around, and then I was like, all right, now you got her attention, right? And then I was like, I'll grab a collar, put on. She just sat there and wasn't like in flight or anything like that. Just kind of like, all right, like I'm just like super calm. And they're like, I can't believe this. This is incredible. I was like, all right, let's go ahead and start working through everything. And so we kind of just did some things. That's how we left it. But today when I worked with her, I just didn't use the e-collar at all. I just did like leash work. And she was so mellow. And I ended up walking with my dog, because that's her thing. She's really reactive to dogs. That, we had the workshop. She was one dog that she got better, but was still really like into it. So that's what I did today. And, she's going to come back on Thursday, and I filmed the whole thing, which is kind of cool. That's another reason why I'm doing these day trains, by the way, for content. Hey, dog psychology listeners, Art here. We're going to get back to the show in just a few seconds. But before we do, I wanted to share something with you that I'm really excited about. Now, if you're passionate about understanding your dog on a deeper level, then I have something very special for you. Join the Better Because of My Dog Psychology community, a place where dog owners and professionals alike can come together and grow, learn, and strengthen their bond with their dogs. For just $50 a month, you can get access to over 300 hours of content that I've created, including my DogFit Live webinars, exclusive podcast episodes, our entire leash handling course and puppy foundations course that I've created. We also have bi-weekly Zoom calls where I personally help you dive into new topics. We analyze video, I answer questions, we open up for Q&A, and we just give you strategies to improve your relationship with your dog. We have monthly guest speakers, ebooks, early access to hands-on workshop with me, and a vibrant community chat room. You'll never feel alone in your journey to become better because of my dog. And the best part is you can cancel at any time. So if you're ready to join the BBMD Dog Psychology community, go to the show notes. We're going to have a link down there, or you can also visit skool.com. That's skool.com/BBMD for Better Because of My Dog dog psychology. Again, that's skool.com/BBMD dog psychology.
So these dogs that do this stuff, that run around, jump up and grab these people. Now, in my belief, that's a respect issue.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So although you can use a tool like an e-collar, and you can take certain situations like the leash in that moment and do that, do you think it changes the dog's perspective? Do you think it brings respect?
Yes. But also, let me explain. So like, here's the thing, like a lot of times when Lynn has this thing that says excitement leads to disregard, right? Their energy was already low, right? The owner's energy is already really low. And here's the thing, they admitted to me, like, we're just really frustrated with this dog. Like, they even told me, like, we're considering giving this dog back. We've never done that before. We don't want to do that. So there's a lot of guilt and a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, right? And they're like, look, I don't want you to give up on your dog. Like, we can make this work, right? And so once they're able to see it, I'm just building respect in those personal spaces, so to speak, right? And so your question is does it transfer over to being respectful? Is that what your question was?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's the point of having a tool to help compensate where they lack in certain things,
Well, and then where was the shortcoming in the way the dog behaved towards other dogs with them?
So it wasn't like a react. It was just like it was one of those things that
Like that, like an excited intensity.
yeah. And then I did a lot of things like calming the dog down at a distance and stuff like that. But it was still like it was one of those that you could hear the nails digging into the concrete.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
Good description, by the way.
Yeah. I had a slip lead on the dog at the time. Here's the other thing that, it's funny because like people are always like, I have a prong collar, but I don't know. They feel a lot of guilt about those things. I'm like, they're just tools to help you. Like if it's going to help with the situation, let's just, I'm all for it. Like every situation calls for something different, like I'm big on using a slip lead, but there are times when I'm like, man, I really got to use a prong collar on this dog. I think it would be really beneficial. And so, yeah, this dog's making really good progress, and they just picked up the dog right before we did this call, and the owners were like, yeah, she's been great since the last time we were there. Nice. Like she's been, so much better. Oh, here's the other thing I forgot to mention. They have another dog, an older dog, and this dog, while playing, actually, turned into a fight. I think they were resource guarding something, broke the other dog's jaw.
The dog you're talking about?
Yes, broke another dog's jaw.
Wow.
Yeah.
In a bite?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the other dog is super chill, old, can barely walk. And I was like, look, I want this dog to be happy too. Like, I mean, just the fact that the dog is jumping up, like running around like crazy, can still injure that dog. It doesn't have to be a bite. You could injure this dog. And so once we introduced the e-collar, and so when the owners dropped him off, they're like, she's been so calm. She doesn't jump on the furniture anymore. She doesn't jump at us anymore. Like, they're like, she's just like, we just can't believe it,
Nice. Well done.
So that's the point of like, where tools can be very beneficial,
Right. Well, you did it right. You introduced it well. That's where everything just kind of clicked and synced.
Yeah.
And you keep it going. I like that.
So I saw a post you talked about cloning.
Yeah. I want to clone you.
No, that'd be the worst.
Little arts as I can. Around e-collar and dogs. Yeah, I saw that because I'd seen it on an article, and it was there's a couple of things that strike me with this. One is I just think it's blatant, like exploitation of that
people's emotions.
Yeah, and then, but the other thing is the people that will do that are already a little tilted. And somebody, let me see if I can find it. Somebody literally made the most perfect comment about that.
On your Instagram?
Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And it was about, it's the fear of never finding unconditional love again. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I didn't see that angle of it was something akin to that. And I was like, wow, that's pretty existential there. But yeah, I think it's just weird as fuck because it's not going to be the same dog. I mean,
It'll look the same.
Yeah, I mean, it might. And I bet there'll be even little small differences there. I mean, it's just because it's genetically the same. It doesn't mean that everything's going to, the planets aren't going to align for that dog to have all the same stuff that day that your dog did when it was born that day,
My thing is on cloning, those things, because I've thought a lot about this, is that people expect, if you were to clone your dog, they would expect to get the same exact dog. But I believe that life experiences that dog has been through has shaped the dog to what it is that you loved, right? Of course. Like I would love to have my dog Frankie back, but I know the fact that he lived on the street was very beneficial to him in his early years and shaped him who he was. And if I raised him, I'm not saying he would be a bad dog, but he would be different. And the fact that he would be different, it would be a different soul. It's just different.
Oh, completely. And that was everybody's comment too, is that you don't reproduce a soul.
Yeah.
You don't reproduce that spirit and soul. And it's weird that, well, the problem I also think with it is there's no way it ends here. You don't just stop by cloning a pet. I mean, if you have the potential to do this, literally you can see the movie playing out. Like, here you are, the scientist that has the ability to clone your dog, and somebody kills your kid, right? And you're like, okay, here we go. And then,
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that. Wow.
and then here you are with the ability to make it happen. It's already happened. If they've cloned a pet and they're selling it, and there's companies that have this, humans have been cloned. We just don't know about it.
Yeah, that's scary too.
It's super scary. And then you start to go, okay, would you clone your kid? They will. Like, the ability to clone traits into people, it's coming.
Well, you got the Neuralink, Elon Musk with his Neuralink, that's creepy too. By the way, I don't know if you listen to him on Joe Rogan, and he talked at the end. No one's talked about this, by the way. I'm really shocked. He basically talked about how by like in 10 years, every family in America or every family in the world, he thinks 80% of people will have a robot working for them.
Wow.
I mean, in one way, we kind of have that, like with
automatic vacuum.
Yeah, just everything. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a robot, yes, but I mean, he's literally talking about like robots that do human actions.
But like an interface, like you interact with it, and it takes your commands and so forth. Well, that's what people want with their dog.
Yeah.
They want their dog to be a robot. They want their dog to interact at will. So what's your take on that?
Well, I remember there was a story. I was trying to find this because I know we've talked about this in the past, but we didn't kind of go into big detail. But I remember there was a story of a farmer or something like that cloned his bull that he loved, and it was like a bull that they would bring in the house and all this stuff, and they ended up cloning this bull, and the bull that they cloned ended up gorging this guy and killing him.
Irony, right?
Yeah, and so. Yeah. There was actually a TCW student that told me about that, and I reached out to her. I was like, hey, where's that article? I tried Googling it, couldn't find anything. And there was like one story, but it wasn't the same story, but it was also kind of very similar. So it was kind of interesting how, people would, make this emotional decision to, I want that thing back, but it's not the same. It's never going to be the same.
No. Oh gosh, no. And that's just weird. And that's, my point too, is that the whole comparison thing. I mean, owners and people in general we compare, and people are often, hey, my last dog this, my last dog that, my dog this, my last dog that. And I mean, that's really what they're trying to do, is they're trying to get back to some thing that they have in their mind, this creation of what I guess a perfect dog is.
Yeah.
And without the knowledge of how to make a dog behave in a certain way, you would feel that you randomly won the lottery if you had a great dog. Like, I've got the dog lottery. That's why there's the phrase once in a lifetime dog. And, as you learn more about how you can actually create that, then you learn that the lifetime dog is the one that you're able to pick or understand how you need a companion. Like, what do you need in a companion, like in a dog? I don't just need a dog. There's certain things I need in a dog for it to be like that thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of dogs that can come here and they don't do that.
Yeah.
But there's that, like, I know me and I know what I'm looking for characteristic wise and response and like all of that. It's like picking a perfect spouse. We're talking about cloning. I think we're at the level where we essentially are. We're cloning because we end up doing the same thing to dog after dog after dog, that we're actually able to clone good dogs. We're able to clone this thing that people are paying $50,000 to clone. We know what it takes to repetitively create the dog that these people want. And that's the weird thing, is they think they have to, it's born with it, and it's not necessarily.
Yeah. I think that, and I even tell people, like, you always get these people that will always get the same breed over and over. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea either. I mean, I've had a Doberman, and I always tell my wife, God, I'd love to have another Doberman again. But in reality, I would love to have that dog back, but the same experience, right? Like, I wish, her name was Dallas. I was like, I really wish I could, if I had another Doberman, but it would be different. It would be totally different. So I don't think I'm ever going to get another Doberman ever again.
Do you remember the Roddy at the TCW in Fort Lauderdale?
Yes.
Like, I'm thinking when I think, I think it'd be cool to have a Rottie. I'm not thinking to have a Rottie. I want a Rottie with an energy like that. Like I want,
Yes.
that's so
Moana, that was her name, Moana.
that's right. So since we have the experience to know like what an energy means.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not about the breed. It's not about that. It's a combination of picking it and then shaping the little bits that you want to make your own. That's what people need to know, is that you literally can take a lot of dogs and make the perfect dog. Especially we have needs for dogs. Like our dogs have to have a certain ability to create things for us and help us with things. So we're not just bringing dogs into our life that, oh, hey, I want a dog. We're bringing dogs in that we have to see, okay, what can this dog do in these situations?
Yeah.
Like
that was awesome, by the way.
What's that?
That Moana dog, that dog was awesome.
Was right, and she needed a home.
Yeah, I know.
She needed a home. I talked to my wife. She said no. I did that with Blue.
I didn't even ask my wife. I was like, we already had 6 or 7 at the time. I'm not even gonna ask.
That was a cool dog.
And we used her for that student that was scared of Rottweilers, which is the perfect dog to use in that situation, by the way. And you remember how she was still kind of scared? Speaking of her, by the way, she actually texted me, the student, and she has a video of her walking Rotties.
You showed me that.
Oh, I did? I sent it to you?
Yeah, you showed me that. I was like, that was super, super cool.
Yeah. I'm just going to find it. But yeah, it's just one of those things that I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but that dog was pretty awesome. Oh my God.
Would you take a hit before we did this?
No, man, I'm just, it's been a busy day. Like my mind has been, so I had jury duty yesterday. So I left my house. I left my house at 7 a.m. What?
You didn't get out of it?
No, I got out of it.
Oh, you should, but you had to show up?
You still have to go.
Oh, here we don't. You can get out of it here. You can call ahead and get out of it.
No, you have to go. And so I left my house at 7 in the morning. I didn't get home till 7 p.m. last night.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah, so I was gone all day. I didn't even see my kid. I left before they woke up, and I came home just to put them to sleep.
And your wife was like, I don't know why, but the kids had a great day today, honey. They were way better.
Oh man. And and we had a big storm yesterday. It was a crazy day. Like it was like tornadoes and all this stuff. It was a day yesterday. And I haven't really rested. I haven't recovered since then. Let's go find that video. Anyway, oh, here it is. Yeah. Well, let's keep talking, and I'll send it to myself. Nice. So that I can we can watch this. It'll be a good video to watch. Andrea's her name, by the way.
She was sweet. She was a good human.
Yeah.
That was a great workshop.
That was one of my favorite ones.
Was it?
Yeah, I like that one
really well. That was Monica knows how to lay down a workshop.
Yeah.
And
it went as good as, because we haven't been there in a long time. It's been 4 years, like 4 years since we've been there. That was one of my favorite ones. The students, I loved the students that I had, and just there's always a vibe around some of the students. That was a really good one. Lisa Woodard was in that. She was my student at that one. That group was really close. That was a really good group. I really liked that one. All right, so I just saved the video. Okay, so you'd also send me some videos. You want to watch those?
Sure.
Okay, so we're gonna watch the one that has Patty in it. I saw Patty's in there, so we'll do that one first. She
comes about once a month. So she had a great day today. She got to see some cool shit. So the dog I'm actually about to show you wasn't the cool thing. I need to send you the video of some of the other stuff that we did, but they were too long. I have to edit them down. So this dog is a friend of mine who adopted this dog a week or two ago from a shelter. It was living on the street, and it basically is a kind of like a Blue. It's a husky mix, got a very similar energy to Blue, and I've noticed when they've been walking this dog that he's one of these dogs that will just walk and lean into whatever pressure is applied. And it doesn't matter where it's coming from. So I went and picked him up with their other dog and Patty and Blue and brought him out. He was first on a gentle lead. And then, I should send you the video of nose, eyes, ears type of thing. because when I walk up, the dog that they have that I know really well is barking his brains out at me. And so it comes up and gets a chance to smell you. And then it's like, oh, shit. Oh, hey, what's up, Todd? And so I'm trying all these things to get this dog to basically look in, right? I mean, it won't look in to save its fucking life. I could have been a giant hot dog, and this dog was not coming in. And so I tried this and I tried that. And then I remembered the owner comes by in a golf cart. And at this point, I've like given up. And I'm just letting the dog walk out in front of me. I'm like, no, there's something going on here. I'm letting the dog walk out in front of me. And the owner comes up and he goes on a golf cart. And he goes up to the owner and he jumps up, but he won't even look at her. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh shit, he's a street dog.
Yeah.
So he won't go into a human in the outside world. Inside the house, he's different.
Yeah.
But his conditioning is avoidance and disconnect, it looks like. So, on the street, humans are different. Yeah, they keep their distance from us. They don't look into us. It's almost like an orphaned kid. You don't go making connections with things, it seems like. And so I was like, oh, when I saw this, when he went up to her on the golf cart, and I said, so we're going to go in the back of the neighborhood and I'm going to get a 50-foot rope and we're going to let him explore. And I go, and I'm going to even explore with him and see if this does it. Because follow's not working. Follow's not going to work. So we go out there and I do some explore shit. No, not working. And then him and the other dog start to play. But he's not really playing. He's grabbing the dog over the top of the head and neck. So he did this when he met Blue. He went to mount Blue and do all this dominant shit to Blue the very first time I met him. So I knew he had this in him. So he goes over and he's like doing all this mounting to this other dog. And I come in and I correct him and he goes back and does it again. And then I fucking boom. Boom. What's up, Todd? Good to see you. and then this video, this from that point is this video. So you can play the video, but that gets you to this point where the video is being taken.
When I watched the video, I was like, dude, how long is that line? It's so long. It keeps going and keeps going.
50 feet.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So he started to play a little too rough, and I had to stop him. And I finally had to go into a relatively firm correction, and not only did it snap him out of play, it connected him to me. So he's hanging out with us more now. He's here. I'll show you. Start to walk.
Is that the other dog lives in the house?
Yeah.
Boy.
And that's a dog that Blue gets along with really well. She's excited, submissive.
Come this way. Come here, Bella. Now this is social pressure. The pack has moved away. Look.
Now this dog
boy.
has
That's my
ran
boy.
away
Yeah,
twice,
buddy. Kneel down.
3 times.
Make yourself available.
It runs away when it's outside.
likes you.
It won't
I
come
want
to
you to give it some
anybody. It won't approach humans.
Open your arms.
That's nice.
Good boy. We did it. We did it. Heck yeah.
That's nice.
So it was interesting. So she spent the whole morning watching me learn and do something really organic as opposed to just execute something. So I spent the whole morning trying to get that dog to connect. And I noticed since it was kind of into her a little bit earlier, and that's why I had it that's why I did that, because to come back and like connect, because once it gets outside, I've seen a few times where they're out having to go get the dog because it gets off their property and runs away. Do you ever see the movie A Dog's Purpose? Dog's
Yes.
Life?
Yes.
Okay. I thought, the concept of the movie, when I heard of it, was kind of corny. And then I think I watched it on a flight. And I was like, oh, okay, I get the concept. And the reason that after I watched it, it changed my perspective is because the dog today reminded me of that. Right? Where it seems like it's trying to get somewhere. It seems like it's trying to go somewhere that's being drawn from this inward connection, and only it knows where it's going. And that movie really brought to me another possible perspective of some of the things over the years that I've seen that made me go, oh shit, that dog wanted to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And all of what we were dealing with was simply that dog wanted to be somewhere else. It was trying to get somewhere. And that's why that dog today made me feel like that. So any connection to a dog like that to me is a very big deal.
Yeah.
Now in the house they had some connection, but not outside.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And I don't know where this dog was from because he said lived on the street, but what I've noticed, like these dogs that live like in Mexico, these Mexican street dogs, and the street dogs here, like even in Texas, they're different. They're the same, but also very different.
It's like gangsta versus, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they like they're very independent. They roll in packs. You know, some of the street dogs here are just like lone wolves, so to speak. You know, and so when I've worked with some of those Mexican street dogs, they can be just like what you're talking about. Like they don't connect. Like they just like whatever. You can find them on a leash, but they're not really connected. Yeah, they go on a walk. They just kind of go through the motions. They don't really connect. I think I mentioned this one dog named Dolly that I worked with.
Last time you were talking about that, you had one of those dogs.
Yeah, Dolly. And like I got a text from the owner not too long ago. Let me look it up. But she was like how she'd been doing really good. Let's see what she says. She's like, Dolly continues to still do great. She spent 6 weeks in Chicago with me this summer, and dogs were everywhere, and she did amazing. Thanks to you and Ann. Have a good day.
Love those.
Yeah. So, you know, that dog was challenging though. I was like, man, what else do I have to do with this dog? Like it was getting really, really challenging. And so finally there was a moment, once you get it, you get it. Like once you get that connection, they're like, as much as like they don't connect, then they connect. And it's really cool to watch because once you get it, you get it. It was getting frustrating because it was, you know, you're working with a dog for X amount of time and you're like, it's getting towards the end. You're like, man, this dog's not nowhere near it should be. However, she was, I mean, because she used to be really reactive also. She's a pack dog, like wants to be with the pack. So it's like that social pressure was making her be reactive. And then I just put her in the pack and we're going to walk with all the dogs. And that was like her fix for that thing. But she didn't attach me to the pack. You know, right. She didn't attach me to providing that for her. And finally, you know, after like putting the dogs away and, you know, towards the end, she just got it. It's one of those things that like, thank God.
It's weird. It's like it breaks the seal. I know exactly that. Like you can think back to some of the dogs and it's weird how that just, it's like it pops.
Yeah.
And then it's there. So she got that. And then I had a lady that's been messaging me. She has a deaf Aussie.
What?
She has a deaf Aussie, an Australian Shepherd. Deaf.
What? I'm just kidding.
Dude, that was good. Yeah, that was really good. So, and she claimed it's like a Cujo, and she sent me some video of this dog blowing up, and she's got an e-collar in this hand and treats in this hand and look at me in this hand, and she's, you know, it's like a puppet. And so I said, hey, you can come out. I'll give you a break on the price, and I just get to tape it.
Yeah.
And so I got a bunch of footage. I don't have it. I didn't send any of it to you. And so this dog shows up. It's the sweetest dog. So by the way, for this dog having what they said is the odd skills, sweetest dog, very, very cool dog. And my dogs are on the other side of a door and a glass, totally good. But I set up a situation where I just bring Blue out, and the dog does blow its lid. It takes one correction, one touch in the side, one foot touch, and it snaps it out of it. And then I go, this dog's fine. They've had this dog almost, I think it's 3.5 years. They've never had it interact with another dog in 3.5 years. They got it as like a 6-month-old puppy. The oddest thing, it's as if this dog's been with dogs. So I take it in the back and I have a fence. So I bring my dogs out on one side of the fence while this is on one side. So I do this so people can see it. It's like a muzzle.
Yeah.
And the dog goes over, sniffs through the fence, takes a step back, goes back over, sniffs through the fence, open the fence. And we have a dog that is exhibiting completely normal social behaviors. So notice how it goes in and sniffs, comes around, hangs out, lays down. I mean, there's not one correction. Now, Blue leaves the scene and comes back, and the dog blows up again, but a quarter of what it did before, and it almost self-corrects and mellows back out. And same thing. The only thing I did is I put Hercules away because if I don't want, if there is a fight. And there's one moment in the video that I have where I get in because this dog and Mr. Pickles go nose to nose. And I don't discourage that, Yeah. And I get in there and I'm just ready to have to I don't want, Mr. Pickles to get bit. And I look and then I just gently get him out of there, and that was that. And it was interesting. This dog had amazing social skills for never being around other dogs, and so that was her day. It was a good day for her. Sometimes when you have people here watching and hanging, as a student, it's a mundane day, but she got a good day. And in the video that you're about to see, I've seen a lot of things make a dog go into avoidance. I've seen a lot of weird light reactions. I've seen a lot of shadow reactions and all, a million different versions.
You texted me about this dog.
I have never seen a dog that shuts down. You'll see it. That shuts down in the sun. Now, the question I have for you, and regardless, you don't even have to see it. Like, I didn't have to see it before I had an opinion about it. But my question for you is, what do you think would cause this? And I'll take you through what I did. And I have, I need to send you another video. I have, hold on a second.
You can send to me when we play this, but I would think there was something going on with the eyes. Maybe something neurologically wrong.
Neurologically wrong with the eyes. That's an interesting concept. Like what?
I'm not a ophthalmologist or neurologist, but some sort of sensitivity to light, I would assume.
Interesting. How about, it would be UV light, huh? I'll have to send it to you because what I have is play the video.
Okay.
Oriented.
I have not watched this video yet, by the way.
So again,
And I'll tell you why I have this
way, and I don't want to go here and go back this way. So I'll see. Last time she went forward, okay. So I'll see if she wants to go forward.
Does she bite?
Yes.
Right at the edge of the shadow.
Yeah.
Closer. So what I'm going to do is what I've now hooked onto is a little ritual. It's almost like a little figure eight. I've noticed it can work. I'm going to wait for her to settle down though. Okay, so remember I said behavior is mechanical. The last second picks up the next moment, right? It's the memory.
The cutoff there.
That's okay. There wasn't anything to see after that. So this is a client this is down at Monica's place, and the funny thing is they're not seeking help for the issue with the son, by the way. That's not why they're seeking help. And
I think I know why. The biting?
They're seeking help for biting. So what you have is a dog that's actually it's weird, and this is why it was a very odd thing. It was actually quite dominant. Because I saw the dog earlier too, and the dog walked by me, fucking just tail up, touching its back,
Husky.
And the whole bit, it's a female husky. And so the story they have is that the dog was given to them. It's a young couple. It was given to them by a family that couldn't take it or handle it anymore. And that's what they knew. But when they got the dog, what you got was a combination of trust and respect bites. So if you went to put a collar on the dog, you could get bit, right? So that to me is the whole concept of trust and getting close and anything that, I don't know, fuck, whoa. And then it would also be possessive enough that it would chase the woman out of the room if food was there, right? So it was forward, fully possessive. It would also turn around and bite anything that applied pressure. So if you put a leash on it and any pressure was applied when it got excited towards something and you pulled back, it would turn around and it would bite. So there was a lot of bites. And initially the dog came in with a muzzle because I'm working with this dog that's bit for a bunch of reasons. And when I first saw the dog, my first thought was that dog's got a bite fucking loaded in the chamber. Right? Because I saw it in a confident state. And it was very aloof. Everything was signaling, all right, if I go in and I have to touch and handle this dog in the context we're in, it's going to bite. So it's not about if it's going to try to bite. It's about how do I want to decide to deal with what this thing's going to do. And so we get to where we're starting to walk, and I go, okay, because they're not walking the dog. And I find out they're not walking the dog because it's got a sun issue, because it does this weird shutdown thing and it does different things when it comes to this. So they're not walking the dog. And I go, well, let's go. And we're under that sunshade. And so they start to walk the dog, and I go, oh, they get out and it shuts down. And as soon as it shuts down, and I think he had 2 leashes. I think he had something hooked to a harness and something on a collar, I think. And when he got out there and it shut down, I went, oh, there's my in. So I took the muzzle, I took stuff off, and I ended up with I think I just had the slip lead on. Now I grabbed the tennis racket because you'll also see, but you don't see it in that. I have another clip. So what he would do is he would go into avoidance, and then I'd wait, and if there was any pressure, he'd go and he'd paw up on it and he'd fight. Mm-hmm. But since he was coming from insecurity due to the sun, he wasn't bringing it back to me. Mm-hmm. But I started with the tennis racket because I wanted him, obviously I just wanted that little bit in case. Now, what it ended up becoming is I found my in I would move this through this like figure 8 pattern to keep him moving, because you can see when he starts moving, he goes to follow pretty good. And what I'm trying to do, the whole point was with these people, I go, this dog has never surrendered. You have no surrender. You have no follow. You have nothing to connect with. And so I would do that, and then I would move him into the sun, and he'd shut down. And every once in a while, I would put pressure to make him move just a little bit closer. And then we'd go through this whole thing. I'm like, dude, you're going to get closer. You're going to get into it. And so I was using his insecurity of the sun to build his confidence in me. And I was using his fight of
the pressure.
The pressure, but not really because he was feeling confident about it, because he was more to deal with his fight side.
Right.
So I was trying to build the trust and respect bond at the same time, because I knew I was like, if I went in for respect, I was gonna get bit by trust. Then if I went in for trust, I was going to get bit by respect, kind of. And I was trying to. It took me 45 minutes to sit there and look at this dog and figure out what the fuck to do.
It depends on if he was in the shade or in the sun.
Correct.
So you do something different when he's in the shade, because when you're in the shade, you're trying to get his respect.
Correct.
In the sun, you're trying to get his trust.
Yes, and if the pressure happened in the shade, like for whatever reason,
he'd bite.
You'd get right.
Yeah.
So
I think it's really important, by the way, what you just said. Like I want everyone that's listening to listen to what he just said. Is that was your way in the sun. Correct. So then you teach it here when he's not going to bite you. He's a little insecure. So using that insecurity to help him out to get in. And then you could bring it out back in the sun. And once you get the trust over here, then you can work on getting the respect over here.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we worked. I did this little figure 8 for a while, and I just kept going because I would have these moments. And if you see the long form video of it, there's this moment I go, dude, I'm in. I have all day for this now, because I was like, I'm trying to sort it out. And then I take him out, and we go out, and there's this sun, I call it in the video, I go, oh, this is like a sun river. I go, he's going to have to cross it, but we're going to wait, and we're going to, and then we go through it, and he stops halfway through it and goes like this, up looking at it. And you see, I'm like, it was all of that for that, whatever it was, 5 seconds of it, what seemed like, that's what it is. Like looking at it. And it made me that when you said the neurological thing, I'll tell you where I was coming from. they believed he was never outside and kept isolated inside and was afraid of the sun. And I believe that he was kept outside and probably had the smallest space of shade. And that sun, I think what Len would call environmental pressure, that became a pressure. So sun was pressure and was avoided back to the smallest space of shade. Because, it's Fort Lauderdale, husky. The dog wasn't living well in the family. I bet he was kept outside, and that was the situation. So I'd be, yours needs to be taken a look at as well. But that was my guess.
So fascinating.
So to me, if you could get him to accept the sun, it's not that neurological connection, right? Yeah. But if I felt like, because I did all of that and had that moment, but if I couldn't get beyond that moment, then absolutely. That was really, those are the appointments I don't want to say I live for anymore, but those are the appointments that you really like, oh, fuck, all right.
It's funny also because like the change is so subtle and we see it like, oh my God. And then the owner's probably like sitting back like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Doing right now, he's walking into figure 8. What is that?
No, but I'm sure they were like, honestly, like the fact that you can work them through and get them to the sun, was a huge thing for them.
It was cool. It was an interesting appointment to say the least. Those can come in down there.
Yeah, I probably had some interesting appointments this week. I just forgot. I mean, yesterday was I don't know.
12 hours of jury duty, that'll do it. Fuck, dude, that's nuts.
Yeah,
no good.
What's that?
Is there another one that I sent you? Is there any other videos there?
No, I only got 2. Unless you sent another one. No, I don't think you sent another one. We talked about puppy mills. That's one thing we want to talk about.
Oh, that's what it was. I sent you the photo. That's right.
Yeah, and I'll just put it up here on my phone from when you sent it to me. But it's pretty interesting because it's right in the middle of the U.S.
Yeah. You guys are one. I think that's more for like your rural areas, and basically the middle U.S. with all that flyover country middle space is. You got the space to be shitwads and pack a bunch of dogs onto your property and nobody's going to know you're shitwads. And you can churn these puppies out. So here's, in my opinion, how you prevent it. If you're going to get a puppy, any puppy store, anywhere in the United States that you live is getting puppies from those puppy mills.
Even though they say they don't, they are.
They are, 100%. Any store anywhere in the United States that sells a puppy, anywhere, is getting them from a puppy mill. It is a guarantee.
Or now, Craigslist.
Craigslist, yep, can be backyard breeders. It's the same thing. You're getting the same thing. And I think what happens is a lot of people feel bad for those puppies, so they want to go rescue buy them.
Yeah.
Right? And all that does is perpetuate these people's jobs, these people's money. The other thing is if you're going to get a puppy is you have to go visit where that puppy lives. And you need to meet the mother. You need to meet the father. In my opinion, they need to be behaviorally sound, right? If either of them are aggressive, that can easily be modeled by the puppies. If a puppy observes mom being aggressive and being a bitch, or the dad being a fucking idiot, and it sees unstableness around it, or it's isolated, or all kinds of things, no. I don't think those are good because I think it can matter. So in my opinion, you need to be able to go see it. And it's like anything else. You walk in and that vibe of when you walk in, your common sense will tell you this is what it should be or this isn't what it should be. And people that are transparent aren't going to hide things from you when it comes to the puppies that they're giving you.
Yeah. Also, another thing to look at is if, like you said, did they allow you to visit with the parents? Of the puppies. Now, if they say no, then that's a red flag.
Absolutely. 100%.
And then there's a book that I read. It's called Puppy Brain. It's by a woman named Carrie Nichols, and she has an Instagram account called Nickelberry Golden Doodle, or Nickelberry Golden Retrievers, or Nickelberry Goldens, I think it is. Anyways, in her book, she talks about there's actually an organization that you have to submit the health results of the parents into this organization. And it's like, this is like the elite of the best of the best, like breeders. And so, but you can buy puppies from them. There might be a waiting list, but for obvious reasons. And so basically they won't breed dogs that have any health deficiency or genetics, defects and things like that. And so they're getting these breeds of dogs, and they're making sure that both parents are healthy. I went and visited the Monks and Ski up in upstate New York. And I remember that they had done the health tests of these male and female. And then the female ended up having like a small litter, like 4 puppies, and only 1 survived. And we were there when the puppy was born. We happened to be there. Steve and I were both there. And I remember that they said that they were not going to breed that female ever again. Like, it was because they felt that there was something not healthy about that dog.
Something not right. Yeah, nature was saying something's not. Yeah. Well, because nature decides who breeds, not us, right? In nature, that like the way nature works, the best to breed are selected, and that's just how they carry on the best genes. Whereas we're typically doing it for conformation type of things, for physical traits and so forth. Yeah, so definitely have to meet the parents.
Yeah,
it's bad. I mean, there's a lot of that whole puppy mill thing's terrible.
Yeah,
and it's going to create a lot of issues: house training issues, social issues, behavior issues.
Dude, I just remembered. So I worked with this poodle, a little miniature poodle named Mercy. And this woman that got this dog it was through a rescue, but this dog lived in a crate for like 5 years of its life in the crate, and had some issues with the husband, and was also kind of like a dog that was really shut down. And it was really the woman who owned this dog. She's actually kind of an inspirational woman. She's beat cancer like 6 times, insane, like all types of cancers, and she's just gone through it. So her dog started going to our dog social, and because she was kind of a shutdown dog, and she was that one dog that would just sit there. And now they've been coming for a long time, and they were here I haven't seen them in a while, but they were here this past weekend, and she was just walking around like a normal little happy little dog. And every time I see that dog, I get inspired because of where she came from, how she's able to move, and it's just one of those. And I tell everybody that's there, I'm like, you don't understand, like, this dog is an inspiration to all you guys, because like she overcame all this other stuff. And the owners are like, she's just amazing. We just can't believe how awesome she is. Like, because it was a rough start, dude. It was really rough for them in the beginning. I mean, you're talking about not only the potty stuff, because she's used to soiling herself all the time. And, she would just shut down, like just completely shut down, but also move towards the husband a lot, like always trying to bite him. And so I was working with building her confidence, but also not too confident with the husband, but you know what I mean? And so it was a lot of moving parts, but also being sensitive enough to this dog to not shut it down was, a huge work. But man, those puppy mills are not cool at all, dude. They're just awful.
Oh, no, they're inhumane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's just terrible.
All right, man. I have to wrap it up because I got kids to feed, and they're already. I can hear them. It's like puppies, I got to feed those puppies.
Go correct those things, bro.
Before they soil their diapers,
You go tell them no.
All right, man. Well, thanks, and I'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Be good.